The governor in his proposal, in essence, has a pause, a longer period of time. We heard about Rhode Island. They have a pause until there's an 80% funded level. So clearly people are getting the fact that a 3% compounded COLA has puts a huge pressure on a pension system, and it needs to be recognized, and both plans recognize that. We did that in 512, but we did it a different way and saying you've got to pay for it. It's an expensive cost.
Is there anything about that your caucus sees in any of this discussion that you don't like, that you wouldn't be able to support when we talk about pension reform?
Well, when you're talking about the concept of pension reform and limiting it to pension reform, I like his concept. I like the governor's concept. I like our concept. We're still on 2 of the 3 of those talking only concepts. We want to see them, but as I told the governor last week, we have 30 votes on his concept. We want to see the details, but we're ready to go. We need to do this now.
But the mayor was obviously preaching to the converted, as far as you're concerned. Who does he have to convert?
I think what I wanted to point out was this crowding out issue, that if you don't do pension reform, it's less money for human services, less money for schools, less money for seniors, and we're at that point.
Who does he have to convert?
I think he has to convince and convert the public that's not vested in pensions, that's not getting a pension, that really doesn't understand the magnitude of the problem. And he does that by talking about the crowding out issue. And he did a very good job on it.
Does the mayor have a specific legislative proposal that he's presented to you?
No. We heard, like the governor's proposal, concepts, and that's fine, but we have a lot of work to do in the next couple of weeks to get this done, and we need to get it done.
Is it a slam dunk, though? I mean, this is going to get done, right? There's nothing.
I don't think we have a choice. Last year we didn't do it. It cost us $7 billion on the state side. We don't have a choice. There's never going to be a good time. We need to do it now.
Well, the mayor took great pains to say whose fault it's not. It's not the taxpayers' fault. Well, whose fault is it? Conspicuous by their absence.
Well, I think everybody's got a little skin in the game. The General Assembly didn't make payments into the pension system. That was a mistake. People are living longer. We've got to recognize that. People are getting benefits they aren't paying for. So everybody's got a little skin in the game.
What about Mayor Daley? Number 1, he was mayor for years. Number 2, it's reported he's getting this big parachute.
I think the reality of the situation is it's a real problem. We need to address it, and we need to look going forward. How do we address this problem, not look back?
Does anything in his plan need legislative approval?
Oh, I think all of what he talked about needs legislative approval. The contribution amount, the COLA pause, the substantive things that he talked about in there all need legislative approval.
What's your understanding on the COLA pause? How would that work?
My understanding basically is he'd say, all right, you're not going to get your 3% compounded COLA if you're in retirement for the next 10 years, and then at that point you will adjust to a smaller one. And again, she made a very valid point that that's the real pressure point for pensions. Because what happens in Illinois, if you're in retirement for somewhere between 20 and 25 years, you will double your pension because of the compounding nature of that 3% COLA. You can't sustain it.
Was this pause button simply a freeze to make it simpler? I mean, would you have no COLA at all for 10 years?
As I understand it, Dave, that's what he said. Again, we haven't seen a bill, but the concept is you got to relieve the pressure valve, so to speak, on these 3% compounded COLAs.
How is taking away a COLA, how is that not breaking the Constitution?
There's a school of thought that the COLA is not the salary, is not the pensionable benefit. That it, you hit the other side, is that it's not treated. The pensionable benefit is you retire at 80% of your salary or 75%. That's the portion you can't diminish. Look, whatever we do is going to go to court. Whatever we do is going to get questioned. But the mayor's right. Also, we need to find a constitutional solution. This thing is only going to get worse. So we don't need a futile effort. And I don't think he sees this as a futile effort, and neither do I.
Just to be clear, is there anything that was part of Emanuel's plan that you definitely want to take away and think the state should incorporate, or anything that you don't like?
Well, look, we're going to continue to have a discussion about shifting this burden to local schools and to the state. We've got to sift through that. But again, let's focus on the pension reform element. And on that, from that aspect, I'm willing to have look. I don't know what will be the final product. Might be a little bit of the mayor's. Might be a little bit of what we proposed a year and a half ago. Might be a little bit of the governor's. At this point, it doesn't matter who does it. Let's just find something that works, that's constitutional, and solves the problem.